Hello, princess. You gonna say anything to us? Oh shit, she's a tormentor. She's gonna stab her, I bet. Something tells me that old princess ain't gonna make it out. Yo, she fell in love? What the f? She ended up fucking loving who she was. It's though, you basically vote someone to get a gas chamber experience. She didn't pick. And as they said, it would be whichever one they opened first, right? Oh, I was wondering why she's like, huh, I wonder. Because like, is it gonna go like a mental route? Like she blocks her bad memories, but if she wrote all of them, that makes sense. The fact that this was the moment that changed everything for her, the fact that she can see it as like, listen, I actually voted for someone, and she's like, I didn't matter, and she can just tell it makes her the better leader here. Damn. So that girl's agent is fucking desperately trying to bring her back just because she. Oh no, that's fucked. She actually cared about her person. Wow, this is one hell of a way to direct that rage finally getting unleashed there in a fairly healthy way, to be fair. Gotta admit, ending this arc with a forced election to figure out who will stay in the gas chamber was a type of Holocaust nonsense I was not ready for. And honestly, I have to say, everything that we saw with our main girl, her actually respecting a previous leader, was not on my bingo card, nor was I expecting said previous leader not to vote for her. It all ended with us protecting her from this wolf and a vote to say, vote for the person you think was least beneficial throughout this game. And honestly, there's a lot of ways they could have took this, but I have to admit, managing to one-up themselves from the previous arc, which we have to remember, the first episode was one whole arc. It was a hour long, right? We basically have seen half a core worth of content. And it was visually messed up without necessarily showing gore, but similar to scenes like these. You can tell she's being ripped apart from a wolf, and it's messed, but you're not going to vomit from the visual imagery. It's not like playing Dead Space and watching a needle go in the guy's eye and watching him bleed out, right? It's a different experience. But watching a group that was reluctantly together just because, well, survival of the fittest, not out of love or determination, and forced to decide which one is the least valuable. And actually, to be honest, most of their votes made sense. But to have her, of all characters, say you win. This show's so interesting because the more I watch, the more convinced I am it is a Studio Shaft anime. This rivalry, this almost weird love and appreciation she had for her. I mean, there's only two things I need from this show in the remaining episodes. One, show me the forest game that has been teased and hinted at. Show me one of their deaths. Because you know damn well both of them aren't making it to the finish line of the show. And just because she seemingly is our main character doesn't mean she makes it to the finish line either. Now, if you got this far in the video, know what to do. Drop a like, show your support, subscribe, ring that bell, help stay up to date on everything we be uploading. And Patreon is where you can catch my full live reactions to all some more. Also does help fund the channel and videos just like the one you're watching. The thing about this whole Saw game and, you know, this puppet wolf talking to us and saying, hey, you're going to vote someone off the island, they covered their ass very well, and it was right under my nose the whole time. Like, what if, like, you voted for multiple people? And there was enough safety precautions there that's like, okay, in the case of, like, say all the votes kind of, like, added up to the same amount, we would just pick the first one that we ultimately drew from your votes, right? The fact that our girl voted for everyone, she casted a vote for every single person because she decided not to pick. The interesting thing is I think that really determines why she was the leader in. She played by the rules without playing by the rules. She didn't give into emotion. She didn't think about things in a basic logical way, which, to be honest, there was two characters that I thought to myself were probably the weakest links in that whole thing. I thought she was safe just because, I mean, without her, a lot of things wouldn't have happened. And she did take a lot for the team. But I thought you either vote for her or you vote for her. Either one of them, I thought, was the weakest links out of the group. Because even if you have a lot of hostility towards the blondie, the leader, right? At the end of the day, she was still a leader. And she did do more than two of them. It's so fascinating because the whole time you're waiting for the shoe to drop, what will be the big punchline? And I think a lot of people aren't going to realize the big punchline wasn't the fact that she you know, said, you know what, I lost to you, and in order for me to be able to surpass you, I have to be able to admit my issues so that I can overcome my insecurities and my weaknesses. I think the biggest surprise was the fact that she voted for everyone, because it is the most logical answer, and that's wild to me. Though we did get some subtle storytelling. Look at this. Everyone has an agent, right? This agent was desperately coming in there. She cared. The agent cared that her girl didn't make it out. Everyone's agent seemingly has a connection to him. Now, I'm not sure if, like, agents are determined at the beginning of starting a game, and obviously you keep them as long as you do these games, or what, but I wasn't expecting that level of emotion to come from that. And I truly think this was the most messed up arc. I think forcing you to vote for someone to stay behind. The first game, if you think about it, right, with like the buzzsaws and everything, there was plenty of ways for everyone to make it out alive up until the end, and then obviously only a certain amount. But like stuff like the buzzsaw game, if they didn't rush, they all would have got out of that. Visually more messed up than, you know, a pile of cotton here, but I do think the whole gas chamber thing was way more messed up. I also really liked what they did in the slow-mo with this whole like freak out scene. Like, it was just so interesting. Like, she had such rage. Just absolutely wonderful. I went from totally despising her as a character to thinking she's the second most interesting character that we'll probably see in this show. And I think their rivalry is going to make for one of the more interesting dynamics of this entire anime season. Now, I think they probably only have time for maybe a couple more games. 3 potentially. Really depends. If they have a couple arcs that are only 2 episodes, they could do 3, but I'm hoping we get to see the forest for sure. Maybe they'll save the forest for the very last arc, I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see what they do. I mean, there was no way for me to guess about the election paper thing, but it is interesting how multiple characters did, including her as well as our leader. And it's interesting to see about how, like, it's hard to tear up, so it's not like you get attacked by a wolf, you fall in a puddle of water. You're not going to damage the paper. The only way you damage the paper is by purposely leaving it behind, sort of a deal, right? Such an interesting and fucked up election, but damn, what happened in the forest? Because she foreshadowed in the last episode that forest was not a good experience. If they tease that and don't deliver this season, I'll be so salty, man. I just thought it was an absolutely fantastic episode. I mean, I sound like broken record. I knew it wasn't going to do that well on YouTube Pass. Maybe an episode or 2 for most people, and honestly, the buzz has significantly died down for anime content creation, but I fucking love this show, so reward me. Likes, comments, subscribes, all that stuff. Reward the people who stick by the greatness and not just for false hype like a lot of people who latch onto stuff just to make it seem like they care about shows like these, where I actually fucking do, because it's awesome. You can see my latest tier list, I prove that fact. Let me know your thoughts down below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz. You want to go the extra mile, though, Patreon, full live reactions to all these episodes and more. Like, hey, I love to give video shoutouts to my patrons because they help fund these videos. So today we got Squealeton, Shadow Cyber Demon, Jessica Compton, Fate, Snake Eater, Zeshram, Dark Lord, and Jonas Pierre. So I appreciate the support. Please take care and y'all have a good one.